Welcome to the Degenerate Dillon podcast, where Dillon has you covered with everything from spreads to futures to prop bets. Follow him every weekday as we pick daily best bets using stats, analytics, and a little bit of luck. Now here's your host, Degenerate Dillon himself, Dillon Nelson.
How's everybody doing this afternoon? It is February 25th, 2021. We are back at it with another episode of the Degenerate Dillon show or podcast, whether you're watching or listening to the show. Last night was a good night to be me, to be a Razorback fan, to be a gambler in general. If you listen to the picks we had on yesterday's episode, Arkansas, I did predict, however, Alabama to win that game. But as an Arkansas fan, personally, I did not bet on that game. I don't bet on my teams unless I'm in Vegas. I don't bet on my teams. We all know that, though. I've said that before. Last night, NC State had a really big win against Virginia. We took the over of 124 there. That covered with a final score of 68-61. We also did take NC State to cover the 11.5 that Virginia was favored, and NC State pulled the upset and won. So obviously that was covered. I did not have the balls to play money line there. Congratulations if you did play the money line and got that little bit of profit there. Last play was Florida State visiting Miami. We talked about yesterday how Miami was just god awful. They're one of the worst teams in the ACC, which, like I said yesterday, Miami's not a terrible basketball school. They're usually pretty decent, but this year it's just real bad. There's nothing there. So we predicted Florida State to cover the 11.5, and they did. The final score was 88-71. So we covered there. So good night from a gambling aspect and from a fanhood aspect. Razorbacks did win and pull off a huge game against the Alabama Crimson Tide, the number 6 team in the nation. If Arkansas goes to LSU this weekend and wins that game, I could definitely see Arkansas in the top 15 and in the 4 seed discussion coming March. This is probably not including Baylor and Gonzaga, obviously, because they're both undefeated. But besides them, Arkansas is probably the hottest team in the country right now. They've rolled off 8 consecutive SEC wins. They're 8 out of their last 9. They're just smoking. They're rolling on all cylinders right now. Eric Musselman has this team playing great basketball, and last night was a treat to watch them play. So much energy and effort, especially from the freshmen there. But yeah, enough of my fanhood. Let's get rolling on today's picks. Today we're going to do NBA picks. I've got Mavs at Philly, first game. The line is Philly 7.5. I really like Philly, 5.5. I really like Philly right here to play the 5.5. Mavs are 7-3 in their last 10 games. As Luka's been kind of turning his season around. He started out not shooting great, but he has backed that up in his last 10 games by shooting 44% from 3-point range. Very impressive for Luka. Joel Embiid is having a very good MVP type season. He's averaging 30 and 11 a game. Luka isn't too far behind him, not in the MVP discussion, but stat-wise, averaging 29, 9, and 8. Those are good numbers. But he just doesn't have that second layer player like they thought Kristaps would be. He just has not showed up. And from what I've been reading up on, they're really interested in trading Kristaps. I know their social medias unfollowed Porzingis on Twitter and on Instagram, I believe. So there could be something there. There could be not. I don't know. We'll watch out for that. But I know that he has not been what the Mavericks wanted him to be. And Tim Hardaway and Bronson and just the other secondary players on that Mavericks team are just not good enough to get this team over that ledge. I really think with Ben Simmons here averaging 22, 9, and 7, shooting 55% from the field. That's your second-tier player. Joel has his second-tier player on that team. Luka does not have that. Does not have that. Richardson. Josh Richardson was the other guy I was thinking of on Dallas. But yeah, those guys those guys aren't Ben Simmons. They don't have. They're not there to give that secondary type of performance like Ben Simmons does to Joel Embiid. So if everybody plays tonight, obviously in the NBA, we talk about this all the time. Pay attention to the injury report because it is 2021. These guys flop like crazy, and they also are out of games and certain nights for back spasms. So just watch the injury report. But if everybody plays for Philadelphia, I like Philadelphia covering the 5.5 spread here. I think it's a great play tonight. Philly's just really good. 16-5-1 against the spread. Mavs are 13-17. Just a play here. Next game, Magic at Nets. Line is Nets 7.5. KD is out, but I think this line is crazy. I think I checked it right after I typed all this stuff up to get a base. But the line had already moved from 7.5 to 8 in 5 minutes. I haven't looked currently. I can look really quick to see what the line is currently. I'm sure it's moved up because even with KD out, here it is. Yeah, it's 9 right now. It's already moved up from 7.5 to 9 since this morning, and it is 12:30 right now in the afternoon. So I took it at 7.5 this morning. I wake up early, look at these lines, put a little bit money on it, and then later on in the day when we get the full injury report, that's the bulk of the bet. But I like getting games like this when I know the line's going to probably jump up. I take it early. So that's what I did. Now the line's moved a whole 1.5. Kevin Durant does remain out, but Aaron Gordon is also out of this game. He is out for 4 to 6 weeks. He's probably getting closer to being back. He'll probably be back after All-Star break, if I had to guess. But Brooklyn has won 7 in a row and covered in all of 7 of their games. A lot of those without KD. Kyrie and Harden have been enough for this team to score and win. That's a really big point here. Magic are 5-5 in their last 10 and 15 of 17 against the spread this season. Not great. And Vucevic has been really good, and he's kind of one of those guys that's like, get out, man. Like, get out. You're too good to be there. He's the second best European center in the NBA. He deserves to be out of Magic and be in a contender spot or be with someone that has a good team. But to get back on the point, the Nets all the way up to 9.5, I would play. I think that's a great play tonight. Yeah, see, I even put Brooklyn -8 at the bottom of the notes because it changed right when I was taking notes. But yeah, Brooklyn is the play tonight, all the way up to 9.5. I'll leave it up to you if it gets to 10. I don't know if I'd take that. That's a lot of points. But then again, this team does average 121 points a game, and the Magic only average 5 points a game. So that's a 16-point differential. So take it as you want it. I've already taken it at 7.5. If it gets all the way up to 10, 10.5, by the time the injury report opens up, I might just leave it alone. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I did take it at 7.5 this morning. I would have taken it at 8. I'll take it all the way up to 9.5. Next game, last game for us. Clippers visit Memphis. I thought this line was also a little bit ridiculous tonight. Just 5 days ago, the Clippers beat the hottest team in the NBA and the Utah Jazz. Paul George has been lighting the three-point line up, shooting 55% from deep. I really like Ja Morant. I really do. And you know what? He could be a really, really good player for multiple years to come, and he probably will be. But there's one aspect of his game that he just does not have right now, and that's the three ball. 20% from deep is not acceptable. It's not in today's NBA. This game is so based around perimeter shooting to be successful in this league nowadays. You can't shoot 20% from the field and be a star in this league. I really like the Clippers this year. I like what I'm seeing from their team as far as shooting the ball. The defense has not necessarily been there like it was the year before. They're not necessarily the LA Clampers this year, but they play good enough defense to score and beat teams. They still have Kawhi Leonard. They still have Paul George. Those are two of the best defenders in the league. Patrick Beverley is one of the best defenders against point guards in the league. Yes. But as a team, they have not defended as well as they did last year or as well as you might have thought they would have into this year. That being said, the line is at 8. It might have moved. I took it at 8 this morning. It was another one of those games that I just liked it at 8. No, it stayed at 8. It's at 8 right now. Currently, I think it's a great line. This is my lock of the night, guys. If I had one, I don't see the Clippers losing to Memphis. I don't care if it's in Memphis. I don't care. Memphis has a lot of injuries. Dillon Brooks is out. Who's going to guard Paul George? Who's going to guard Kawhi? Nobody. This is an easy pick for me. Clippers to cover the 8. Also, some news since we're here. I'm going to try to talk to, I know Jackson Collier, JC of JC Hoops Pod, wanted to come on and do a little March Madness bracket, little pick'em style. We're hoping to maybe talk Andrew Hutchinson of, some of you know him as Hutch, but of hogbeat.com to get on here and do a little bracket special with us. So we're working on that, but just be excited. We're going to get on here. We're going to do a show, pre-record it, pick the whole entire bracket together and come out with our national champions. But yeah, something to look forward to. But yeah, hone in on the Clippers minus the 8 and hone in on Brooklyn, what you can get them at up to 10 points. Up to after 10 points, it's you. But yeah, that'll be it for me today. I appreciate y'all listening. I appreciate y'all watching. If you're watching, tell me what I can do to help your experience get any better. Help me out if there's certain games that you want picked that I can pick on the show the next day. Just hit me up in the comments, man. Hit me with a like, hit me with a share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also on Twitter at Degenerate Dill down at the bottom. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. We will catch up with you tomorrow.